Appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
Gentlemen, you know the day. Welcome to Dion's Daily Dose. I'm not going to get into all of the theories surrounding who was responsible and what happened and all of that about this day. What I am going to do is I'm going to talk about what happened a little bit. I'm going to thank the people who put their lives on the line and many who lost their lives today running into danger rather than away from it. Hi, Jack. Thanks for joining us. Again, thank you to the first responders. Many of them across time, not just on September 11th, but every day, run into danger rather than away from it. They run towards the fire. They run towards the accident. People generally think about the firefighters, the police officers. They don't really think about the tow truck drivers, the paramedics, the crossing guards, the regular citizens who may not necessarily be trained in this type of thing. Many times our veterans might find themselves in a situation. There were a lot of people on that day that gave their lives for others. Some of them were on flights. Some of them were on the ground in New York City. Others were around the country. But I'll tell you this, after the shock and heartbreak of what happened on that day, I think it brought us together. I've seen a variety of posts that have said things like they sold out of American flags the day after. People overall spent time with their neighbors, with their friends, with their families. We really became a tighter, more unified America, at least for a little while after 9/11. We unfortunately have gotten away from that. We are spending a lot of time yelling at each other, demeaning each other. I know that myself, after the events of that day, I was actually at the time, I had actually changed careers. I was just before that, I had stopped driving trucks. I decided I didn't want to be a truck driver anymore. I wanted to be home every night. I wanted to change my life. My marriage had ended because one of the reasons was because I was on the road all the time. So I decided that I was going to change careers, and I actually became a car salesman. I used and new, but I became a car salesman for a little bit, very little bit. And I was working at the Ford dealership here in Michigan City at the time. I was a trainee, and I was out front. I heard a big commotion from the break room, and I walked back there to see what was going on. And the image on the screen, at first I thought they were watching a movie or something. I couldn't process what was actually happening. And the other people that were working there were uh, telling me what was going on. They were saying there's been a plane that crashed into the tower, and I'm like, what? The twin towers? And they were like, yeah. And I'm watching what's going on this screen, the little TV that they had in the break room, and I couldn't believe it. And obviously, a lot more things started happening. They cut to what happened at the Pentagon and talking about the other flight and the second plane and all the thing. Everybody knows what happened, but it became a very different America for a little while. It became a initially a fearful place, an angry place. But I think the next day when everyone kind of caught their breath and realized what happened and there was more information, uh, we really started to appreciate the Americanism, the the thing that sets us apart from other nations, the fact that we are united, even though we're different in so many ways. I mean, so many other countries, most countries, I would say, have their identity tied towards a certain race. Um, America, you can't tell who's an American by looking at them. America has people from all across the world. I mean, and for a little while after that, everyone was nice to each other. Like, you would get smiles, you would get people laughing and camaraderie, and people were paying it forward and talking about what they were doing to make America a better, greater place. Uh, Feel free to leave your story in the comments. Where were you that day? What do you remember? The big thing that stuck with me, and the big thing that stuck with me, other than the news reports and the visual of the towers and all that stuff, the big thing that I took away from it was we're all Americans. And I think that identity is really important. Uh, People in general are kind of a very tribal type people. We like our communities, right? Whether it's family, whether it's neighborhood, state, we identify with that. And 9/11 really it put our tribal identity in the spotlight. And I remember that for quite a while after that, there was a lot more love. There was a lot more kindness, a lot more. There were a lot more people that were spreading the love. Uh, I'm hoping we can get back to that. I'm hoping that we can get back to uh, getting people to recognize that there is far more that unites us than divides us. There's far more that we agree on than we disagree on. We can all do a little better at being better people and being nicer to those around us. Uh, I know I can, right? I am not perfect, not by any stretch of the imagination. I make mistakes every day, but I do try. I try to be a little nicer today than I was yesterday, and a little nicer tomorrow than I was today. And unfortunately, there are those that will take advantage of niceness. We can't focus on that. Americans just the majority of us, right? The silent majority. Americans just really want to be left alone and allowed to lead their lives. And I think that that's kind of what so many people who don't agree with things are believing. So many people want to force their opinions onto people. They want to force their way of life onto people. Well, if you believe that, you're wrong. Here's why you're wrong. Sometimes you just have to let people believe what they want. And in general, I have found, and Americans, for the most part, again, just want to be left alone. We want to live our lives the way we want to live our lives. We aren't hurting anyone. There is more to life than hate. There is more to life than anger and rage. And hi, Cindy. I'm doing really well. Thank you. I hope y'all are doing good down there as well. We can do better. Let's take today. I had actually a whole show that I was going to do and some stuff that I was going to talk to you about and show you that's kind of going on, but not today. Not today. I'll save that for another day. Just remember, ladies and gentlemen, that we're all Americans. We all want the same things. We just have different ideas of how to go about it. For those of you that identify with the left end of the political spectrum, let's talk about it. Let's talk about ways to make things better for all of us. For those that identify with the right end of the spectrum, let's talk about it. Let's try to make things better for all of us. It doesn't matter where you identify on the political spectrum. Let's all remember that we're Americans. We all, in our hearts, we love each other. We believe in each other, and we believe in our ability to do better. So this day is a horrible day in history for our country. There are people all across the world, Americans, and not just Americans. There are people all across the world from other countries that share this day with us. This day of pain, this day of remembrance, and it's not just an American tragedy, primarily, obviously, but hey, good to see you. I'm doing well, thank you. There are all spectrum of people that look at today, and hopefully we can learn the positive lessons that we learned from that we are all connected, that we can all work together to make a better world. So that's where I'm at. That's it for today. Feel free to tell me where you were that day. And let's not forget that 2001 wasn't the only thing that happened on September 11th. Try to remember all the people who lost their lives. So God bless you. God bless Indiana. And God bless the USA.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Sean Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2020. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.